My name's Caleb, and I'm a real farmer. I want to show you guys what I've been up to, making some improvements for our brooder for this year. So we're changing over from an old style of what's called an Ohio hover to a 4-lamp heater. Here's what we have been using in the past. I think it's called a Ohio hover is what it's called. And these work pretty good, but they've a couple different problems which I'll talk about. So how these work is it's just a plywood frame, and then you have these heat lamps in ceramic holders, and then a plywood lid goes over the top, and if you want you can put insulation over the top as well. And the idea is that this is a nice big area where it heats up, and then the chicks can come in here and get warm. Most of the problem with this is one, it's really hard to regulate the temperature or see how the chicks are doing because they're hidden underneath there. You can't tell if they're freezing or too hot. And if you do have birds die underneath there, it might be a couple days before you spot them. So it's hard to keep up on chick health. And also it doesn't do well as far as the light. The main way the heating works is it's infrared, and so if you're standing in front of it, then you feel the warmth. And with this, I felt like most of the light was being directed outward towards the middle and upwards up against the roof. And it also, because of that, can cause a safety problem. Here you can see where the light bulb got too close and left a bit of a burn mark, and I've had it where it's basically charcoal right there. So that's a fire hazard, and I don't want to have that happen. I don't want to have a fire in a brooder. That's bad news. This is a kind of heater that I bought from, I think it was Farm Tech. You can see where the 4 bulbs go there. All right, it's a real nice setup. And then there's a thermostat thing on top, which this wafer thing goes in there. All right, and it's got the chains to hang it. And this thing costs about $110 or something plus shipping. And I had a couple of old parts laying around, so I bought some oil pans, basically the same size oil pan. It looks basically the same, really, and made up my own version. Right, so I got some ceramic lights in there, and the thermostat thing is here, and then the wiring is sandwiched underneath there. And I'll show you how I put those things together. Alright, so I cut the holes out. So these are about 4 inches off the center, and about, I think, 3 inches wide. And they're going to be covered up, so it doesn't matter if they're ugly or not. And so that's just a quick way to do it. So what I've got here is I've got some old ceramic light bulb holders from Home Depot, and so I'm just screwing these in with Tech screws. And you just want to make sure that the hole, that these 2 wire nut things are in the middle, so that they're not going to be close to the edge so you don't touch. So next up, we need to mount this power wire to the middle here. So what I use is this thing here, which is just one of these wire clamps or conduit holder things. And I just pound it flat with a hammer, so that way it sits real nice and tight. So that's what I use to mount the power cable. And then you want to attach your ground wire here with a screw to the lid, so that way if anything grounds out, it grounds through the lid. The switch for this thing, because how this works is 2 of the lights stay on all the time, and then the other 2 turn on only when they need to. And so that switch for that is this thermostat, which is, you can get them on Amazon, they're like $30 or so, and it's just a wafer-based one, and that's what controls the other 2 lights. So what I do is I usually hook up all of the black lights, all the black wires in parallel, so that way if one of the lights goes off, it doesn't shut off any of the other ones. and then I hook up 2 of the whites in parallel, and the other 2 I hook up through the switch. So that way the switch controls whether those turn on or off. All right, and I'll have another, in a bit I'll show what that looks like. All right, because the wiring is the kind of the more complex part, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy to do, really. Okay, so here is the black wires. So connected, what I'm going to do is connect these 2 together and have a wire connecting this to this wire, and then connect these 2 together and have a wire connecting these to here. And then basically for white we do the same thing, except it would be, you would have in between the whites and one of these wires, you would have the thermostat switch. And when you do wire these together, you want to make sure these wire nuts are on super tight. And then what I do is check each wire, so pull it a little bit, make sure it's not coming out, and then wrap the wires here and the nut with a little bit of electric tape, just so that way it doesn't rattle loose too. Okay, so that way you're not dealing with it later. So now I've got the white wires done, so they're wired in parallel, and then I've got these 2 coming off, which will hook up to the thermostat thing here, right? So these 2 wires will hook up to the red and the black one here, right? And go to this one here. Alright, so I'll show you how that is. That's wired up now, so the red wire goes to one of these, and the other wire goes to the white here on the power cable, right? And the black just connects so that those 2 lights are always on. Alright, so it's good to go right now, but I'm going to put a cover over the top of this, but you don't have to if you don't want to, but I do just to keep the dust off of it and makes it a little safer and neater too. So when it's all done, it looks something like this, or you can put it off to the middle like this one here. Okay, so I just use a plastic from Home Depot to cover up the top. Let's test it out. So there they are, all turn on. All right. So there it works. Well, thank you for watching. Let me know if you got any comments or changes I should make. So closing remarks, go follow your dreams. And if you're not following your dreams, at least follow me. So subscribe.